Welcome right to a brand new episode of Fair Faithful Podcast. I'm Brandon Freeman, joined by me is my co-host, Deon Johnson from That Gang Podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Still another upsetting, L for the Niners. Let's get right into it, dude. What did you take away from this game? And I mean, what are your thoughts, dude? The past 3 weeks, they've looked like shit. Defense has looked horrible. Offense hasn't been doing good at all. What are your thoughts?
This is very unfortunate right now, man. It's a struggle. 17 points the last three games. The first two games out of this 3 game stretch, Moody was missing kicks. He didn't miss one, in this last game. So it seems like he somewhat corrected that. I ain't gonna trust him until I see him get more consistent. But yes. Oh, I like that. It's kind of like Halloween.
Halloween theme.
The comments. That's pretty cool. Good job, Restream. But for me, I'm disappointed in all phases. We gave up that big run on special teams to set them up. Purdy threw interceptions. I don't know what's going on. He was out there looking like Jimmy Garoppolo rather than Brock Purdy. And I'm gonna tell you, and my question to everyone is this who he really is? I did a show early in the morning, and CJ Gray put up a crazy stat: 33 turnovers in 48 games at Iowa State. That's a lot.
Yep. What's up, TL?
What's going on, man? What's going on, Terry? So,
Back, Daniel.
the secondary looked like trash. Mooney was just out there holding. Isaiah Oliver needs to be gone like yesterday. I just at this point, if you really are dying to put Demo in the slot because you feel he can do the job, then go out and get a corner to take his spot on the outside. Okay? And you can have Mooney and whoever. I think they're this kid Jalen Johnson from the Bears or something like that. I forget his name. Talking about him. But it just the other thing is Kyle being Kyle again, being stubborn. It kills me that he won't use Jordan Mason. And I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
We knew it. Because Kyle, he has his guys. And Elijah Mitchell is his boy. So you're going to put Mitchell in the game to do not a damn thing. But the last 2 games, Jordan Mason was averaging over 5 yards a carry and had a touchdown in each game. When you want to run up the gut, you don't want to use Jordan Mason, who's built for that. You want to use CMC. We went away from the run. The run sets up the pass for us. It's always been like that. You know what I'm saying? The defense, I mean, it's nice that Eric Armstead got 2 sacks, but, I mean, hell, there were so many would-be sacks. And I'm sorry. I don't care what nobody says. I don't know what happens with Steve Wilks. He's got to figure it out. I know we had these same issues kind of a little bit with Salah and a little bit with D'Amico. With their first few games, they had some adjustments to make. But what really kills me is the fact that they just destroyed our zone defense. Jamar Chase was sitting wide open so many times, it drove me insane.
Yeah, agreed.
But what do you think, man? What are your takeaways?
For me personally, dude, particularly this game, our defense once again looked like complete garbage. Like I haven't seen the same defense that we saw the first 5 weeks. Yeah. This man coverage that Steve Wilkes doing, it has to go. Who was it? I think it was Kyle that said, or somebody said that the defense just looked tired out there. And that happens when your offense can't do shit, for one, right? And 2 is when you give up the big plays on 3rd down, like they've been doing the past 3 weeks, right? So that's another thing. And Richard Sherman, I don't know if you saw Undisputed this morning, but he said something about, I think, was it Undisputed or his podcast? Something about where like he need things are going to change and it's going to happen next week, during the bye week. He mentions Steve Wilkes and everything, and so I'm interested to see if it's actually going to happen. but they need to clean this up. If they're trying to be a Super Bowl contender, like this stuff needs to change like pronto, especially if they want to
Mhm.
try to get that number 1 seed. So, um, real quick, Dom, happy birthday, man! Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it a lot.
Oh yeah, happy birthday.
And then TL with a super chat says
Uh-huh.
holding Brock Purdy accountable is kryptonite to some fans. If they would get their heads out of their out of his lap, they'd see he's a problem like the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the thing with this fan base is you talk bad about Brock Purdy. It's the worst thing in the world. Here's the issue. Brock Purdy been playing like trash for the last 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people don't want to say it. And I would tell you right now, Nick from First Things First is looking like a genius right now because Chris Broussard and everybody else on the show wanted him to crown Brock Purdy the king. But now we're seeing it's very simple. Just rush us with 5. We can't hold nobody down. We can't stop anyone. We already had lost Trent Williams, and now we lose Aaron Banks for several weeks. So Trent Williams is definitely going to have to come back early. Why? Because we're not going to have any choice. He's going to
Yeah.
want to do that because we're going to need his help. You know what I'm saying? The D line, I agree. There's a lot of money being spent, and it's not creating the pressure that it used to. And we would think
So
with Javon Hargrave in here that we would go ahead and have that as an option.
somebody was it in the media? Somebody I think it was Acho mentioned that Steve Wilkes is more of a DB
Yeah,
coach than
yeah.
he is a defensive line coach. And
Mm-hmm.
he was saying that this could be probably why the D line hasn't been as pretty as it usually is.
Yeah.
Uh, because Wilkes hasn't coached coached like a defensive line like how it was last season, right?
Yep.
What's going on, Anshul?
There
Glad you
we
can
go.
make
What's
it, man.
going on,
What's up?
man?
I thought I'd at least pop on for a little bit. I probably won't be able to stay too long, but
There you go. We'll go. Hey, give us your thoughts there,
Yeah,
man. Go
like
right
give us
ahead.
your
Let it
thoughts.
out, bro. Let it all fly, man. Because man,
um, first of all, Steve Wilkes, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, this defense looks like hot garbage. They literally look like a college football team out there. I'm not even joking with that defense out there, dude. Like, it's just terrible. I mean, the positions he's putting guys in, just everybody looks confused out there. It's not like he's changing things and things still look different. And I saw a stat today that was posted from Akash, one of the
mm-hmm.
Niners beat reporters, and he was saying that, like, PFF grade wise, when the 49ers have played man coverage, Mooney Ward has a PFF grade of about 40, Diameter
Oh,
Lenore 58, Isaiah Oliver 36. But then when you're in zone coverage, which is their bread and butter, 86.5 for Mooney Ward,
mm-hmm.
70 for Diameter Lenore, and 75 for Isaiah Oliver. So this man defense, I mean, I get it's an adjustment period, but it's not working. I just don't. This team has never played. Man, they've always been a zone team, and I just feel like you don't completely have the players to do that too. So Steve Wilkes got to adjust and go back to the zone defense. And I'm glad Kyle Shanahan said that he's gonna talk to Steve Wilkes about possibly coaching down from the field, because I think that could be something that could help this team. Just because the energy and throughout a game, yeah, I feel like the Niners players can feed themselves with the energy, but you always need somebody else, especially going throughout a game throughout the season. So yeah, that's what I think about the defense.
Hey, what's going on, Beto?
What's up, guys?
There we go. We can hear you now. At first,
Yeah,
we
we
didn't
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
But no, man.
Uh,
You can give me your thoughts on the offense too, media, because 17 points these last 3 games ain't cutting it. And Brock Purdy out there, he had a very Jimmy G-esque game last week. I don't like any of that at all.
Yeah, offensively, I mean, I don't know how you're not like you gotta be able to change the game plan too, Kyle. Because I understand. Okay, for some reason your stupid ass didn't end up, being prepared in that Cleveland game for somebody to be hurt. And I know you don't want to think somebody's gonna be hurt, but every week I've said this so many times. You need to be prepared no matter what. And I don't see a difference at all. And I get that there's turnovers and stuff. Why are they making the same gosh damn mistakes? It ain't like they're making different mistakes, every week. It's the same thing. Kyle Shanahan, it's on you, it's on the coaches to make sure that they're executing. And I think that's why the bye is coming at the perfect timing because they've been on a bit of a downfall. So I'm really hoping that these meetings that they have just get something in there. Brain, every player just needs to look into the mirror and be like, I gotta be better. And I really think they should not be taking this bye lightly whatsoever. They gotta figure out what is going on and start working on that. But I'm definitely more concerned, I'd say, on the defense than I am on the offense because the defense isn't even giving us no pass rush. I thought it was pretty solid yesterday, but I mean the other 2 games wasn't good. So yeah, overall, just team just needs to find a way to
Yeah.
get back on track, and I don't really know what it is though.
So I'm gonna kind of agree with Randy. Um, like yes, Brock has thrown some stupid interceptions, but when throughout the game he looks good. It's just more of how you call it. He's doing too much. Like Kyle's making him pass too much when he doesn't need to. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to go back to the running game. Like I said before, we need to go back to the running game. We didn't do that in yesterday's game, and that's what usually works. And like you said, Deon, Mason wasn't used. Mitchell was used probably once or twice. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's cracking down on CMC. Like me and Beto were talking about this in the pregame show. Um, he needs to switch it up. Like he sees that people are going after CMC and people are watching the film from when the
They've been going after his neck too. Like, have you seen a lot of people doing that? Like, they tackle him right up top of his head, and they're always trying to. Like, I don't understand why that happens, but it does. But I mean, for me, my thing is like Brock cannot bring us back from behind. These last 3 games we've been behind, and he's not capable of doing such. And that one touchdown, the 2 interceptions, that is an unwelcome sight. I don't want to see that because we saw that a lot with someone who's in Oakland right now, destroying that team, and I don't want that to be the case. And that's what I was saying. I'm wondering if defenses have figured out Kyle, and with that, they're going to figure out Brock, and they're going to make Brock look
Yeah.
really bad. That whole winning streak and everything, that shit's definitely out the window now. We're talking about a guy who was in the MVP race early on. We were 5-0, scoring 30. Moody was perfect. We didn't have no problem. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people are going to give Brock Purdy a pass, and that's fine. But the reason why I'm going to ride him is because y'all rode Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Y'all talked all the shit y'all could about Trey
Yeah.
Lance and how negative and how horrible and all this other shit. So I'm going to ride him just like y'all rode Trey Lance when he didn't even get a real fucking chance to do shit in this offense because Kyle didn't want it. And he just shifted him off like it was nothing. So for me,
because he's garbage.
and you
No,
gotta
mom.
get it together. You gotta step your shit up. You gotta get it together, and you need to figure it out. You can't come in here and keep having these little, these games, and then everybody keeps giving you a pass because you're a rookie. So at the end of the day, I thought this was a win now team, and we have all the pieces and all that other bullshit. Well, we got everybody. but we got a head coach who's too fucking stubborn and he doesn't know how to get his head out of his ass. You got Ronnie Bell. He showed really great in preseason. He had a touchdown this season already. Why hasn't Ronnie Bell been utilized? I thought Danny Gray was activated off the IR. We ain't seen him. I thought we did have other receivers named
Juwan Denny's wasn't a factor either.
But no targets to them.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm talking about. Like we have to deal with Kyle for the next 7-8 years. We have to. There is no choice. Jed York is not letting him go anywhere. He's already gave him extension. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean we can't hold him accountable when he's fucking up. And we all know Kyle is very egotistical. He wants to be the man. He wants to be the guy that gets all the credit, and he wants everybody to praise him. But at the end of the day, you need to figure out what the hell to do to be able to make this offense work, because scoring 17 points a game ain't getting us shit but a bunch of L's. And I can tell you right now, if we come out, after this bye week and lose another game and just score 17, that tells me we got more than a problem. And it ain't just the defense.
Yeah. I have a question for you guys, because I don't know if you guys have heard this, but I've been hearing kind of rumors or people just talking about this. They're saying that this defense is not a big fan of Steve Wilks and that there's some tension in the locker room. What are you guys' thoughts about
Don't
that?
believe that shit, bro.
The way the defensive line has talked, some of the linemen there, even Nick Bosa. I wouldn't doubt it, but I mean, that's going to happen. It's new. You don't know it. It's frustrating because the shit ain't working the way that it used to, But what were you saying, Beto?
I said I wouldn't trust any of those guys unless they have concrete. If you're not in the locker room, I wouldn't trust anybody from the outside the locker room. Say if you hear, I know Bosa's frustrated. We heard it, but I don't think it's a strictly Steve Wilks problem. I think he is part of the issue, but I think, I don't care if you're a good coach or you're a bad coach. The missed tackling from this defense has nothing to do with the coach. You can call him the worst schemes. You can put him in bad positions, but missed tackling, how does that got to do with the coach? That has to do with the players. Now, if the players are not playing well because they're not happy with Wilks, well, then they're not professional. They need to be out of this team. You might not be happy sometimes with something that's going on, but you got to do your part until something changes. But you don't just give up. And I don't expect the Niner players to be the type of player that give up. One thing I've always noticed with the Niners, they don't point fingers. They don't sit there and blame each other. They take their own accountability for shit that happens. Fred Warner said it well. People want to blame Brock. Yes, Brock has been having some issues throwing interceptions more than a lot of us like. But I don't think he's the issue either. I think missing Trent Williams has shown that's, when Trent Williams is in there, CMC is running all over the place. You see Trent Williams out, suddenly CMC is struggling. They're not going to run towards Jalen Moore. He's not a great run blocker. He's not going to open up lanes. The guy shouldn't even be there. So we're missing Trent Williams. Now, if we get Trent Williams back and Debo, and like Deon said, we hit only 17 points, then we have a deeper issue going forward. But getting back Debo and Trent Williams, we should be able to do something with this. Now, everybody gets to blame. Coach, head coach, defensive coordinator, positional coaches, players. It's all about internally looking at yourself and saying, what the hell changed from the Dallas Cowboys game to the Browns game? Mm-hmm. Yeah, what has changed? How can we get back to fixing or getting back to the way we were before scoring 30? It's like now they're stuck. First, they're stuck on 30 plus points, which is okay. But now they're stuck on 17, and I'm starting to hate that number. We need to get out of 17. But it's really not one person's blame. I know that call that he made against the Minnesota Vikings where he sent an all blitz right before the half, that was a dumb call by Steve Wilks. But let's be honest, Chavez Ward, if he would have not allowed to be bitch slapped by Addison and that football taken away from him, we would not be talking about that play. because it wasn't like he wasn't in position. He had the ball. He took the ball. And Addison says, let me take it away from you, little bitch, and slapped him and run it in for a touchdown. So suddenly we're all blaming Steve Wilkes. I don't agree with that call. I want to make sure that's clear, but I put that on Ward.
And I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on that. Because you know what happens? You know what they teach receivers all the time? What's the number one thing they tell you not to do? Do not catch the ball with your body. Catch the ball with your hands. If you watch that slow-mo replay, Mooney was letting the ball come to him. And that's how Addison wound up getting that ball. Because if he stretches his hands out and forms them almost close enough to be the size of the football, that's a clear interception. Addison has nothing. But because you're doing this and you got your arms open and with your elbows are kind of tucked so you can try to cradle the ball, it's automatically easy for somebody to get in there and snatch that. So, yeah, in that aspect. And then Mooney, the last game we just played, got real handsies, had several penalties. Like, it just seems to me like when there's a receiver that he knows is faster than him and he can't contain, he's going to do that. And we can't keep having you out here getting penalties, man. We don't need that. At the end of the day, you're going to have to figure out how to deal with these receivers. Richard Sherman was never the fastest man in the NFL, but he damn sure knew how to keep up with those receivers and play his zone well enough to be able to make sure that he made up for the speed that he didn't have. So Mooney's going to have to jump on that train and figure it out because we can't have those penalties.
If I can add, Deon, the difference between, my opinion, between Ward and Sherman, Sherman was always the number one corner. They made his adjustments. Traverse Ward is not a number one. He is a solid, great number two. They can handle the number. He's not a one, and he's forced to play one. And I know he gets frustrated with that when he faces elite receivers, and that's not his fault. He's not a one. And Kyle and the gang need to make sure they bring someone in or have someone that's a one. Lenore, if we brought a 10 from the Broncos, I understand if he's available or not. Yeah. But someone at his level, he can be the number one. You got Ward at number two, and you can move Lenore at number three, a corner slot, and you're fixing two problems with one add-on. But as long as we have Ward at number one, we're going to run into these problems, especially with the lack. And I think what saved Ward last year was that pressure that we were putting a pass rush. Now he's getting exposed for what he is because there's no damn pass rush.
Yep. So for me, the reason that I'm having an issue with the offense really is the fact that it's just very simple. Kyle got away from the run. He should still be running the ball. We should be running that ball no less than 30 times a game.
And where is Jordan Mason at?
Like, at a bare minimum, I could give CMC 20 carries, and I could give Jordan 10, and that's perfectly fine for me. And I can tell Brock you're only going to throw the ball about 20 to 25 times, depending on what we need. But I'm just for me right now, the way that Brock is playing, yes, I know that the offensive line is just not looking great. And to lose Aaron Banks, but get back Trent Williams, now we got to figure out who the fuck's going to play left guard.
Sean Feliciano probably.
Yeah, Banks is out with turf toe for 3 weeks.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been off of social media because I just don't like to hear the idiots cry about the
I understand. It social media.
I just found out that Kirk Cousins, I know he has nothing to do with us.
He's out for the season. He tore his Achilles. He's out for the season.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he's already talking about trying to pull an Aaron Rodgers too.
Oh no, he's definitely he doesn't. He already knows that he said he was going to lead the Vikings. So the issue for me with that is, and I'm keeping it a buck. I don't need him to be on the healing moment, and we have a shitty enough season that says Kyle wants to move on from Purdy now too, and then we fuck around and wind up with him here to do nothing. Like, it just for me at the end of the day, I feel like if we keep going in this way, ain't gonna be no Super Bowl.
So,
and the Seahawks have just gotten better by adding Frank fucking Clark
and Leonard Williams.
They got Leonard Williams too.
Yeah.
So
Leonard Williams, I give credit. Frank Clark, he's already past his age. He's not.
But he's a nightmare for us. For some reason, he seems to find his way.
He's still good.
Though. That much does.
But Leonard Williams was a good move by them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. That's why I was like,
I I don't want it to be a situation, man, where we now have to fucking deal with the Seahawks again. And I'm really hoping they figure this shit out because it's getting way too close for me to go to the game I paid money for. And I'd be good and goddamn if I paid my hard-earned motherfucking money to go in there.
Dude,
and
I paid so much
Deon,
money too for
Deon.
Week 18 versus the Rams, bro.
You guys, but realize
God.
this. Realize this. The same situation that's happening right now, even though we started off in the better way this season, last season we were 3-4, guys.
And then I think David Lombardi put something up. Shout out to BT from Nitty
Yeah, we were
Niners.
3-4, but our defense did not look like dog shit.
No, they didn't look like dog
I have a
shit.
feeling they will
That
turn
wasn't
it.
inspiring, but
I have a feeling they will turn it around during this bye week.
They better. They don't have a choice.
And John Lynch, you better fucking call somebody up and go get that corner number 1 tomorrow. I swear.
now keep in mind with that point there.
That
I'm not saying that John Lynch is not calling people.
To look at too.
But you got to remember, too, teams have to be willing to get rid of their players for a reasonable payout. They're not just because they don't get nobody doesn't mean they weren't pursuing someone.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they just wanted too much, and we're not because it's damn if you do, damn if you do. In situation with a lot of Niner fans, if John Lynch goes and gets a player and gives 2 number 1s, we're pissed. We're pissed. He gave up too much. If we don't get a player worthy and we keep our pick, John Lynch is not going after nobody. It's like, dang, bro, catch-22. So I think they're trying, but they're smart.
I'll say this on that note. At this point, with the way that we draft in the early rounds, fuck those picks.
That's exactly what I said once we
I'm sorry.
I got CMC. I was like,
No, but they're also looking at the contract, though. They want rentals. They don't, if you bring Surtain, say bye-bye to Ayuk.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to say Ayuk and this guy. So you got to remember, it's not only what we give up and trade value, but it's also, are they going to be here permanently for a long time or they're just rentals? Rentals you can get rid of. Someone like Sertan, you're not going to, if you trade 2 number 1s to get rid of them, that's too expensive.
100%.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Speaking of the defense, since we're still on it, I'm going to play audio from Anshul, what he said on Speak Live this morning. So give me a sec. Here we go.
The Niners have a Steve Wilks problem. They have a Steve Wilks problem. They pressured yesterday 15.9% of the time. That's bringing 5 people or more into the rush. The league low is 18% of the time by the worst team in football, the Arizona Cardinals. So the Niners are only pressuring 15.9% of the time, but it's not about the what for me in life. It's always about the why. So, Joy, I asked myself, why are they doing that? Wait, their defensive coordinator this year, he's a DB. He's a former DB coach, defensive backs coach, for clarity. Defensive backs don't think pressure because they always grew up in the back end. Whereas their DC defensive coordinator beforehand was DeMeco Ryans, my former teammate, Shady's former teammate, a linebacker in the front 7. He thinks pressure. Before that was Saleh, a linebacker coach in the front 7. He thinks pressure. The Niners currently have a Steve Wilks problem because the structure of Steve Wilks does not fit the structure of this defense. The Niners' best players are in the front 7. Bosa, All-Pro, Defensive Player of the Year. Warner, All-Pro. Hard to do. Their best players are in the front 7, but their coach is a back 7 coach. So you're in a dilemma because what Wilks wants to do, the Niners don't do best. So I'm panicked because until they fix the Wilks problem, there's going to be a problem with the team.
All right. So this is talking about, is it time to panic for us? Let me get your guys' thoughts on what Anshul said this morning on the show. Beto, let's go. Have you go first.
Is it time to panic? No. Does he have some merit in that point that he made? I think he does. I think Chris Kacerek, we know he's a great D-line coach, but we also understand he answers to Wilks. He can't make his own choices. And maybe this is why the front 7 and Bosa is maybe feeling a little bit of pressure from Wilks. Maybe they're really tight with Chris Kacerek, and they probably can see how pissed off or frustrated Kacerek is because they're not. Because one thing I do know, when the front 4, you send the front 4 by themselves, they can do stunts, they can move around to get to the quarterback. When you are blitzing, these guys are told to stay in their lanes. They can't do stunts anymore. They gotta be respectful and hold their lanes open so that whoever's blitzing can come through, and that can disrupt a guy like Bosa's rhythm. Everything's about rhythm. If you don't have a rhythm, you're not going to be good. And the rhythm is being disrupted because of these blitzes by Steve Wilkes. And he is focusing more on the secondary, but he's not allowing Chris Kaserik, in my opinion, to do what he does best. And he has a hand in it. And because there's no way that people can tell me different. We have the same personnel from last year. If anything, we added Hargrave. Better than Kinlaw. We can all agree on that, right?
Yep.
But yet we're worse. What is the common denominator here? It's the addition of who? Steve Wilkes. Same roster from last year, doing great under D'Amico. This year, not so good. We have the same roster, and we added Hargrave, but yet we're worse. So to me, I have to say it is a Steve Wilkes issue, and they got to get that fixed. So I do agree with some what Acho said on that take.
Anshul, let's hear what you got to say about his take.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with Acho's take. He made a really good point how like Steve Wilkes is that DB coach while you have Robert Sala and D'Amico Ryans as linebacking type of guys, and they know on pressure. So I thought that was a really good point from Acho. And yeah, I think that maybe, I don't know if the Niners maybe overestimated kind of what Steve Wilkes was really going to bring to this defense, because maybe they did think that it was just going to be, the defensive line would pretty much stay the same in terms of scheme wise and, still not blitz a lot. And then it really just be like, okay, the back end's improved, but we'd like to see it be better. So that's why we brought in Steve Wilkes. So I think that's what the Niners kind of thought would happen. And that hasn't happened. And so I don't want to say it's still kind of early, but I don't think Steve Wilkes is right for the job right now as DC, but maybe I hope he proves me wrong.
D, you're on mute, man.
Gotta echo the sentiments of my brothers, man. It's the same thing. It's just unfortunate that this is happening, but I mean, hopefully Wilkes will come out of it and he'll start to understand how all pieces of the defense work and not just focus on, the back end of it, because the whole thing is the front seven creates the pressure, which helps the back end create the turnovers. That's the easiest way to do it. But you got to make sure that your game plan doesn't allow you to have the holes that it had. Like that game against Cincinnati, man, there was way too many wide open receivers. I'm talking nobody anywhere within 5 to 10 yards of these guys. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell is going on, man? We got to get off the field on third down. We have so many things to do. And it looks like he's a little overwhelmed just based off of that, but he's got to get it together. You took a DC job. You're going to have to be all-encompassing when it comes to that. You may be able to let your coaches do their job when they're practicing, but in the game, ultimately it's up to you, and you got to be able to be down there and be around. Honestly, I like the fact that everybody's talking about him getting down to the field. Some people are like, no, he doesn't really need to do that. Yes, he does. You know why? Communication. Because when you up in that box, you ain't communicating with nobody but just Fred Warner. If you get to the sidelines and guys are telling you, hey, coach, I'm seeing X, Y, and Z. I'm seeing this. I'm seeing that. Maybe we should switch it up. We should go with this or we should go with that. Okay, cool. Like, be open enough with your players to make the proper in-game adjustments to the things that they're seeing. Talk to them. The more you communicate with them, the easier it is to build the defensive game plan. But when your players are just out there just playing because you called the call, you're not going to get good results because they're not really all in on you as a coach. And you don't want that kind of stuff in your locker room, especially when you need your guys to go out there and perform. Because guys go out there and just earn a fucking paycheck, meaning I'm making business decisions rather than playing football. And when you make business decisions, you get very lackadaisical. That means I'm not going to hit this dude as hard. I'm not going to wrap up and, hurt my arms or hurt my body. I mean, I remember George Kittle saying literally after every game, it feels like he was in a fucking car crash. So your body takes a beating. It's a gladiator sport, but he's got to get back on top of it. I'm not gonna give up on him just yet, but he's got to figure it out. Hey, Mr. Joe took me back with the Felix the Cat, man. I ain't seen that shit in years.
I was watching Gina V and Rod, their show, late night. Was it Sports Talk or whatever?
Yeah.
They were just saying, and the guys that are with them right now on the show, they're saying that Wilkes being down on the field doesn't matter. You don't see Vic Fangio down on the field, like naming all these defense coordinators on different teams being in the box, and Steve Wilkes, and how we're complaining how Steve Wilkes should be down on the field. But I agree.
I don't care about other teams, and that annoys the shit out of me when people bring up. I don't give a fuck about other teams. No one cares about the Browns. No one cares about the Cardinals. I don't give a fuck about the Rams. I don't give a fuck about the Cowboys, Patriots, nobody. I'm talking about the Niners. What other teams do and what other so-called great defensive coordinators do is not my goddamn problem. My issue is the guy I have right here in the building. And if I feel that should be something that could possibly help him because of communication purposes, then yeah, I feel he should be there. If Vic Fangio isn't on the field, well, whoop-de-doo, a lot of you fucking die for him. That's his defense. It's a totally different defense. You know what I'm saying?
When you see communication, what is the difference between being on the field and being in the booth?
Because because the thing is when you're down there on the field, you can talk to your players. You can actually gather them up. You can, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, offense on the field. Hey, guys, let's have a quick huddle. You know what I'm saying? You can bring them together when there's times where they really need to be coached. You're physically there to coach them. You know what I'm saying?
So we're not talking about the rah jumping up and down like
I'm just saying,
and Robert. It's just a conversation with your players when they're showing up. Talk to them,
man. Yeah. Hey, look, man, I'm seeing
that.
This
I can go with. That I can go with.
Yeah. Are y'all seeing the same shit? All right. Well, yeah. Well, what the fuck do we need to do to figure this out? How are we going to come together to create a better game plan so we're not getting beat on that? Now, don't get me wrong. The rah shit, that needs to be handled in the locker room. You need to be. There needs to be somebody to light a fire under these guys.
Yeah, because I'm gonna say if it takes that, then what are these professionals getting paid for?
Yeah, and
but I see your
handle
point
that
now,
shit
Deon.
behind closed doors. But my number one thing about the rah thing is we do need a rah guy on our squad. Now, Fred,
it's
and
not
everybody
Wilkes.
talks like Fred will do the pregame speech, and he has a lot of energy. And I heard Eric Armstead and a couple of other people, a couple years back talking about, we don't need to be yelled at or screamed at. Yes, the fuck you do. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you know why? Because you're not doing your job.
Yep.
Armstead, you rubbed your belly twice last game. That's all. That's the only 2 times you rubbed your belly this season, sir. I don't think he has another sack outside of those 2.
He does
at least not to my knowledge.
No.
So you've got to have that rah guy that can pick everybody up and light a fire under their ass when the coaches aren't doing it. Because I can tell you right now, if I'm Kyle, I'm ripping my O-line a brand new asshole when they get to the sideline. Why the fuck is my quarterback under that much goddamn pressure? I'm finding Chris Forrester. What the fuck is going on out there? Why are you not talk to me? Figure this out. But we can't keep.
I'm sorry, Deon. You know what Chris Foster is going to say back to Shanahan? You're the SOB that did not give me players when I wanted them in the offseason. You'd rather go and get a kicker.
Hey, look. And at that point, you know what Kyle Shanahan has to do? He has to own it and say, I fucked up. Now, that's not going to happen because that ain't Kyle. But he's got to own it and say, I fucked up. Because that's what he should have done. Shoring up this O-line should have been the first thing. And me, the way that we started to build this team when John and Kyle got here, I would have done the reverse. I would have started offensive line first to shore that up because you can't go out there. Offensive linemen are a dime a dozen. If you hit on a guy, you hit on a guy. Mm-hmm. It's extremely rare that you catch a really good offensive lineman being cut or let go due to the money. Because you got to pay these guys. You got to hold the stellar dude together. That's why you never seen Quentin Nelson hit the market. He ain't never did fuck that. That man is a lifetime coach. You know what I'm saying? The only reason Trent Williams hit the market was because basically it was the right thing to do for the fucking Redskins. They were supposed to. They kept holding that man hostage put him on the field when he was almost possibly about to die. Like, yeah, bro, you gotta let him go, man. So he's got to be better about making those decisions and listening to your position coaches, man. You know what I'm saying? Moody ain't doing fine. He's doing all right. Fine is an upgrade from all right. And he needs to stay in all right until he showed me some goddamn consistency. Because those 2 games before, he didn't look good at all. You get your 1 kick and your 2 extra points. That's nice. But I need to see that happen for at least about 5-6 more games before I restore.
I need to see the pressure kicks being made.
Is that right?
Yep.
Right? Because when he missed that kick in that dome, the first thing I said was, "Oh, everybody was talking about the win last week. Wasn't no win, huh? Wasn't no reason you should have fucked that kickoff."
Yeah.
And when people tell me, "Oh, well, the Vikings kick once again," that's Minnesota. Do I look like I like the Minnesota fucking Vikings? I don't care about the purple people eaters. No one gives a shit about John Randall, Dante Culpepper, Chris Carter, or Randy fucking Moss, or Adrian Peterson for that matter. All great players. They ain't on the team that I like and I represent, so I can give 2 fucks about their organization and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Can't disagree.
So
if you're not on my team, I don't want to hear it.
Exactly.
Actually.
So I'm gonna switch to Zach and my bookie. I'm gonna have him talk about my bookie real quick, and then we'll come back to our conversations.
Yes, sir.
Give me a second. All right, take it away, Mr. Zachary.
Just want to take a second to thank today's sponsor, MyBookie. As a bettor, you demand perfection, and MyBookie delivers. NFL, college football, and a brand new cash out system gives you options to bet and win all season long. The first 2 legs of your parlay hit, cash out early and use the funds on another bet. Or you could let it ride for the chance of a bigger payday. Join the MyBookie family for a season filled with odds boosts, free bets, and super contests. To get started, all you got to do is super simple. Go to mybookie.ag right now and register for an account for free. That's right, it's free. And whenever it is you're ready to make your first deposit, just use promo code HIVE. It's right here on the screen, HIVE, to grab a welcome bonus on the house. That's our gift to you for being a part of the 49ers Hive family. That's promo code HIVE, HIVE, to claim your deposit bonus. And for a limited time, you also get a free chip to use in the MyBookie casino. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Now let's get back to the show.
All right, thank you, Zach. So going back to conversation, what do the Niners need to do if they want to try to win the division and try to get that number 1 seed this season to take home field advantage? Beto, we'll start with you first, man.
Make the proper adjustments and win games. Right now, their mindset should not even be about getting that number 1 seed. That shit's sailed. I'm not saying that the boat's going to stay out in the water. It can resurface. But right now, they need to look internally and figure this shit out. What happened between the Cowboys and now? Something happened. Wilkes wasn't added after the Cowboys game. He was already here, and we were putting points. Brock Purdy, I don't know if Halloween's not a good month for him or what. I'm being sarcastic with that, but my point being is they got to look at themselves again and figure this shit out. They got to win games, and right now, Seattle is smelling blood in the water. They took over the number 1 spot, and they went and added a middle guy and Leonard Williams. They're smelling. They're above. We're in second place now. Our concern should be the NFC West. We need to win our division, and if everything else plans out, we can't. At this point, the Eagles are 7-1. We can't worry about them. We can just have to be concerned about fixing our shit, putting it together, and winning the NFC West should be the Niners' priority, in my opinion.
I agree with you there. Eric, we can't give Jake Moody time. I'm sorry. You get picked that goddamn high, you don't get time. As a kicker, the only way you get time is you get picked in the 7th or 6th round. But you get picked that damn high, No, you don't get time to try to work through all that shit. We need you. One of those games we could have won
Nope.
if that kick wasn't missed. And I can tell you right now, I don't like the way Moody kicks. Because every time he kicks, it feels like he's going to go wide fucking right.
He hooks it. He likes
He
to hook
hooks
it.
the shit out of it. And I don't like that because that just leads it's a possible too high of a probability for a failure. And I don't want that to happen. So unfortunately, there are some players who cannot get time. You know what I'm saying? But for me, honestly, I think we got to figure out what's going on with the front seven, get them back to normal, and everything else will fall into place for the defense. And then on offense, oh my God, bro, we got to get this offensive line together. And we can't have that. And an integral part of the defense is definitely Trent Williams. Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel, man. If those two dudes get back on the field, I feel like things open up. Because to tell you right now, ain't no defense scared of Ray McLeod. They care less about his existence. And, hell, they don't even know who Ronnie Bell is because Kyle, as he always does, don't trust rookies and never lets them on the fucking field.
Yeah, I don't like that about Kyle.
And I don't understand.
Scenario, I'll never argue with you, Deon, on Kyle.
Yeah.
The whole not trusting rookies crap.
Yeah. I don't get that. Like, and especially when you have a dynamic rookie like that. Like, Bell could do some shit. He could get busy. And if you put him in and just give him a couple of plays, now it tells the defense, okay, I actually got to worry about this dude because he's actually eating us alive. Nobody expected Addison to go there and go, like, kill us the way that he did. I sure as fuck didn't. But he came in there. We weren't prepared, and that rookie went over there and lit us up. So you could do that with guys, but he has to open the door to do those things. That's why I get frustrated when people say how innovative he is. I tell people all the time I don't feel he's innovative because he's too fucking stubborn. He's stuck in his ways. And he only uses the people that he wants to use. If you notice every single game, who's always on the field? Christian McCaffrey. Every fucking play. He's on the field too much. A guy like that, you load manage him. You do him like they do LeBron and Kawhi and all these other players in the NBA. You give CMC certain times and you give him certain times where you just, hey, look, man, we're going to lower your carries. We need you for the playoffs. I'm not going to run all the tread off of your tires.
You would think that's a smart thing to do is watch his thread, but yet he puts shit on top of him. You're right. He does, and if Mason makes a mistake, Kyle's quick to bury
back to the bench.
Like people had told me, we talked on Twitter, people are like, man, imagine if we had Nacua from the Rams on the Niners. I go, what? He'll just be right in on the bench. We probably wouldn't even know who he is. Why?
Exactly.
Because Kyle wouldn't have played him.
Yeah, he wouldn't have. I don't care what.
Ronnie
I don't
Bell
care
would be
what.
playing for the Rams. We will know more about Ronnie Bell in the Rams. And, I hate the Rams, but Sean McVay, and I know
he
this year
the door.
he had to do it more because of injury, but he does it anyway. And he allows these rookies to make mistakes and grow from them. The thing with Kyle, he'll put in a rookie, but the minute you make a mistake, that's it. He loses trust in you. Well, shit, these guys are rookies. The only reason why he keeps going with our kicker, because who else is going to put out there?
Yeah, ain't nobody else. There's no option.
Yeah, so he has no choice.
And there's not that you can turn from Purdy and run to Sam Darnold's dumbass. Ain't nobody got time for that shit.
Yeah. People that want to Sam Darnold, come on. He's a backup for a reason. Brock Purdy has been throwing interceptions more than we like, but the guy's still way better than Sam Darnold, bro. So people are like,
sorry.
Sam Darnold plays and he wins. We might have a controversy. Shut up.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I've looked. I'm telling you. I keep telling you, everybody out there, y'all. A lot of people don't like it, but at the end of the day, Sam Darnold has showed you who he is. That man played more than enough football for everybody to know who he is and what he brings to the table. He's not that dude. And you've got to think, yes, he did. He played yesterday, but he was on special teams. That's that. He was just on special teams. He was relegated to that. And you got to, the thing is don't call Kyle innovative when he can't even allow people on the field to do the things that they need to do. Don't call him innovative when he gets so stubborn and stuck in his ways that instead of putting a guy on the field who produces for you, you put a dude on the field because you like him, because that's your friend. I always call it helping out the homie. At the end of the day, I ain't giving nobody no damn hands out. You leave it to me. Elijah Mitchell would have just been very sad when he came back, because I'd have looked dead at him and told him you're gonna have to earn your spot back, as Jordan Mason has uprooted you and bumped you down to 3. I'm not gonna put you behind TDP, but you for damn sure ain't gonna be in front of Mason.
Deon, with that statement you just made, and I want to support that. When you said if it was you would tell Elijah, you got to earn your spot back, right? So as a coach, you're fixing two things right there. You're making Elijah work harder to get a spot back, and you're building encouragement to Mason. You're telling Mason, you're the guy. Okay, now it's up to you whether you want to give it back to Elijah or not. And you tell Elijah, you better get, like, you talk to them individually. Mason, don't let this guy get past you. And then you talk to Elijah, you tell him, don't let this guy hold his job. Take it away from him. You make them battle it against each other. You turn them on each other to get the best production from them. You don't just put Elijah, when Mason is doing better, just because he's your guy. That's bullshit. And I agree with you 100% on that when it comes to Kyle.
Yeah. And I said that earlier, Luis. Yeah, I haven't seen Danny Gray. I know he's healthy. I know he's been activated. Where's the dude that everybody was hurt? Where's Darrell Luter Jr.? Where's this guy at? Are we gonna see him out the bye? Like, everybody was hollering about how great he was, and oh man, when this dude gets on the field, still ain't seen him.
Yeah,
you can't keep trying to stash corners.
And forget about Jair Brown as
I was just gonna say that Jair Brown
ain't getting on the field at all. You ain't gonna see him. You won't. He gonna sit there behind Gip. He'll play next year, because I think I tell you right now, if we don't win a ring, Gip ain't. Players understand when it's time, and they ain't about to sacrifice their body to just keep playing a barbaric sport such as football.
Yeah.
They'll say, "Hey, look, man, I had a good career. I made more than enough money. I'm straight." And I think
people say they started. People say they started Hufanga as a rookie. He had no choice to start him at the time. He had no choice.
Yeah.
He has a choice with Jair Brown. He should be able to put him in on the 3 safety sets. Or even put him at, in the corner. I don't know, whatever, just utilize him. I'm not saying to put him on, 80% of the snaps, but you got to see what you got in this kid. What do you drafted him in the 3rd round just to have him sit? I don't understand that, but that's one thing I never liked about Kyle's like.
And to be honest, you got to unleash Hufanga. Let him go back to the dude that he was. Stop having him play full-on safety. Use Hufanga as a Swiss Army knife. He might be a linebacker one play, a safety the next play, and the DB after that. He may come off the edge. He may just threaten and back up. But you got to let him be that free-range guy, because that's what makes him better. If you don't do that, you're going to screw yourself over, and you lose the best parts of a player. You play to player strengths. Kyle did.
I'm watching basketball.
Oh, okay. Kyle.
I like AD, but he's an idiot.
Oh man,
he tried to be Jordan, and he slipped and fell.
What was that? Just the other game, 17 in the first half, not a damn thing in the second. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Gotta get it together. For you. That's AD, man. He ain't worth shit.
Curry better than AD.
They play different positions, bro. Let's not get into that in this discussion.
So Eric brings up a good point, because I actually mentioned this to Beto in the pregame show. Remember this, Beto? We keep throwing to the same guys like Brandon Ayuk all the time, or freaking George Kittle, right? We don't change it up at all. We gotta change it up, man, because the defense is gonna notice where you're throwing to, and you just stick to one guy, then like nothing's gonna happen.
And that's not even Brock Purdy's fault. That's Shanahan
Kyle
telling him where to throw.
He's going to tell him what he's going to tell him what his reads are. He's going to say, "Hey, this is your progression. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is and right back around the 1 if none of those guys are open or whatever." But that's the unfortunate part about it, man. And I can tell you right now, Brandon Ayuk, no matter what, is definitely going to come out and command money. And if they don't properly pay him, he'll go elsewhere because the 49ers don't franchise tag people. They just don't. It's just not what they do. They
Last
never
person,
have been that
Unless
way.
you're a kicker.
yeah,
Yeah,
last
Mooney
I
has
think
a
it was
chance.
that
Robbie
was
Gold.
with
Yeah,
Robbie
he was the
Gold.
last person we franchise tagged.
So
Anyone
Mooney has
else,
a
we let
chance
him
if he
walk.
plays
We'd
well.
be like, all right, go on, get the fuck up out of here, peace. Other than that, we're just in very heated contract conversations, and it takes forever. Nick Bosa was the longest one that we took to get done. But that was because we paid him a ridiculously absorbent amount of money, and he's got to start producing. But we got to hope that this defense changes, man. I just need to see something, before anything else. And I think that's perfect timing, media. I think we all got to do that.
Yeah. And the part that we don't franchise anyone, the good thing about that, though, is they do sign their players that they feel worthy of on time, except Bosa. Bosa has been the biggest signing in franchise history in the amount. So I can understand what there was a delay there. But normally they sign everyone there. To me, signing a player is way better than franchising them because that means there's a good relationship between you and the player. A lot of times when you franchise someone, it's not good for the player, and it doesn't show the support from the organization. So the fact that we don't do it, that means good. Now if we lost players, like say we didn't do it to Debo, right, and then Debo went up leaving. Then I can sit there and chew out on the organization. But the fact that they sign them ahead of time, that to me encourages me as a fan. But there are areas that have to be improved. I'm still a big fan of Kyle Shanahan, but I will admit he has issues. Ego is a big part of it. There's things he needs to change. He has changed though, but he needs to change a little faster because the players are getting older, and we'll see. Hopefully, this bye. He'll sit there together and instead of going out with the guys and having beer, I say this as a parent. There's a time to be a friend and there's a time to be a parent to your kids. If the thing to me, the whole motto is if your kid doesn't hate you, you're not doing your job right.
There you go.
Your job is for your kid has to hate you. That means you're being stern and you're doing your job. It's not about whether your kid loves you. It's about whether your kid can survive this world. And tough love is always something you have to give. And Kyle's too much of a buddy than a head coach. And that irritates the shit out of me. I don't know if you guys agree on that or not, but he's too much of a friend and not enough as a head coach.
I hear you. And that's the thing, which is to be a leader of men, you have to be able to separate that. And the perfect analogy was what you just used, man. Your kids got to just basically be like, you know what? I may not like my mom or my dad, but they're doing
too strict. They don't,
because at the end of the day, you got to remember, man, you can't put out a bunch of soft motherfuckers into the world. You know what I mean?
Not nowadays, no.
And you can't do that. There was a comedian that said if we have World War III, we were fucked. And he said because he joked. He said I'd storm the beach, but I have a shellfish allergy.
Oh my God!
He's like, you just take a bomb full of gluten, and these kids would freak out. And that's the thing. Like we live in a very, very soft society, and when you leave the door open for people to be able to do what they want, it's different. Like back in the day, we feared as kids a belt. If we heard a belt, we heard a switch, or like some of us, hell, you just got hit with whatever the fuck was closest to them.
Or a chancla.
These things would happen. Now, you don't have to hit a kid. Just take this away.
Yeah.
If you take this away, it is the end of the world.
Yes.
The days are over. It's like you were nailing them to the cross like they was Jesus.
If you take away their cell phone,
and unbearable pain. You take that cell phone away, it's the end. And for Kyle, every now and then, Kyle, that's going to be my analogy. You got to take the cell phone away.
Real quick on the soft people and the whole World War III. I won't get political. I know political. I know better to keep it out myself, but I'll make a point. I like to listen to it. I know this is a different place.
Yeah,
but they were talking to. They were talking to a representative from Gaza from Hamas being attacked, how his family is getting killed, and how his family being blown up, right? And then the person that was hosting, he started to cuss, and the host said, "Oh, can you please not cuss because And he's like, "Oh, Yeah, I forgot. My family just gone blown up, but America doesn't like to be offended with cuss words, so I'll keep it down. It's like we're so pitiful that his family just got killed, and America's worried about the F word.
I ain't even mad at him. That was the
You know what I
perfect
mean? It's like
sarcastic comeback.
he handled himself professionally, but can you imagine your family just gets blown up, and I say, Deon, I don't like cussing on my channel. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bro.
You know what I mean? So it's like, come on,
man.
man.
That was a cold comeback when you listen to it.
America needs to stop being soft.
Let's put reality to the side. It's okay. I'm not going to worry about what really just fucking happened. And that's the thing. Like, you got to be able to stand there and tell these guys, hey, look, man, we got to get this shit together. We cannot keep doing this. This is not going to work, and really be stern about it. Because to Beto's point with his analogy, the less stern you are on children, the more shit they're going to get into.
Yeah, because they'll get away with it. They know they'll get away with it.
The more stern you are on them, the easier it's going to be. I saw a little meme as I'm scrolling through Instagram, and it said parenting in the 80s. And there's a kid, he was about to stick a knife in the wall socket. And his mom was like, no, don't. And the dad said, nope, that's all right. Give him a second. And he zapped the light flickered for a little bit. And that motherfucker looked up and he was like, bet you won't do that shit again. Sometimes you gotta let motherfuckers learn the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's like I'm telling you something is hot on the bottom, and I'm giving it to you by the handles, but you keep grabbing for the bottom. I done told you it's hot on the bottom. I'm trying to help you avoid burning your hand. You know what? Grab from the bottom, dumbass. Go right ahead. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just fuck around and burn yourself. And if you drop this fucking pot, I'm gonna kick your ass because you can drop my food that I just cooked. It's the same situation. You are not putting enough pressure on the quarterback. I need to talk to you. Let's figure out what's going on, what the problem is. Let's figure out a better way to be able to game plan against this. Work with Wilkes, Kyle. Sit in with him in the meetings. So, hey man, as an offensive guy, if you do X, I'm gonna do Y. So you need to be able to figure out Z, because I'm telling you that shit's not gonna work against me. I'm gonna do this. If you're pick his brain, work with each other, and that way you're gaining knowledge. If I'm Steve Wilkes now, I have an integral part of what offenses think, especially somebody running a spinoff of what his offensive system would be. And for Kyle, I sharpen myself, iron sharpens iron, by understanding the defensive things that you're thinking and what you're trying to do and the pressure you're trying to create. But work with everyone. Bring your defensive coaches together and say, hey, guys, this isn't working. Something needs to be done a little bit differently. What did we do before that was working?
So since you brought that up, D, I heard that actually Kyle was in the room with Wilkes last week.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
he needs to, and not only that, but he needs to speak up. Listen, Steve Wilkes is employed by Kyle. Now, Steve Wilkes has a certain way to do things. I understand, but if the shit ain't working, Kyle needs to step up and say, "Listen, we tried it your way. It has not been working. You need to make some changes. If you don't make the changes, I'm going to make changes, and my changes are not going to be nice to going for you. So I'd rather you make the changes instead of sitting there like, okay, Steve, I believe in you. I know you're doing it. I know you're handling it. No, make the necessary changes, get the shit turned around, or you'll be gone. And sometimes, and same thing with players. You know what? Stop rubbing your stomach, Armstead, and start getting the quarterback more. Because eating twice a year is not enough. You need to eat more.
Somebody that damn big. That's a whole grown ass man out there.
Yeah, exactly. And the tackling, bro. This bad tackling is embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and that's just not just the regular guy. It's Fred Warner had some bad tackles. I seen Greenlaw, and it hurts me to see Greenlaw miss tackle. And I know he's hurt, but if you're hurt, then don't be out there. Don't be don't hurt the team if you're not able to play 100%.
And then also he's holding back because he wants to make sure that he doesn't wind up getting another penalty. And honestly,
And
look,
that
man,
sucks.
if Greenlaw gets me one penalty a game, I'm not mad at him. Fuck it. I need it.
I would
I want
actually
him
encourage
to.
him. You know what?
The refs have
Do your
been
thing,
bad
dog. Do
lately.
your thing.
Yeah, I would tell him straight up, hey, look, man, do what you got to do, baby. Don't worry about it, man.
Yeah, the refs have been They were horrible this weekend. I'm gonna have to. I'll be completely
This
honest.
weekend, you
I mean,
must
they
only
have been
watching
lately,
football
but
this
they were the
weekend.
worst this weekend.
And then I guarantee you, next weekend you'll be like, "This weekend is the worst," and we'll go on. I'm not attacking you, Brandon, but I'm just saying this guy's getting shittier and shittier every week.
It's
They're
bad,
getting. It's
man.
politics for them,
They need to
and it's
freaking
not even
figure
them.
shit
It's
out.
the NFL that is behind. It's behind it. The NFL tells them, because they want to get the views, they want to get the ratings. That's what the NFL cares about: money. Not certain calls. They want to keep teams close. They don't want blowouts because blowouts doesn't make money.
That's why we say
Close games does.
Yeah, and because you got to
upsets
think about it.
definitely make money.
If you're blowing a team out, what do most people do? They want to beat the traffic. This game's over. I'm out of here. But if it's a close game, what do people do? They stay. They watch.
They stay
buy more
and they're
food.
buying
They
beer.
buy
They're
more
buying
beer.
food.
They buy more merchandise. They're there to spend their money. Why? Because they spent more time at the stadium. So Beto ain't lying in any way, shape, or form, man. This is the truth, the way it works.
All right,
it's all about money.
Yep, we're gonna be ending it here right now. Let me get your guys' final thoughts, just in general, for, with this Niner team that we're seeing right now. D, go first.
For me, just figure it out, guys. Figure out what the problem is. Figure out what you need to do. Spend your bye week. Honestly, this is not one of those times where you take that bye week and go for yourself. This is that time where you take that bye week, you reflect, you figure out who you are, you figure out what you want, and you go out there and you start making plays. And as long as you can do it within the scheme, fuck it, man. Make it happen.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I second that. Just look inside, look at each other, each individual player, each individual coach, be accountable to yourself. Figure out your own shit as players, as coaches, and figure out what has worked and what hasn't. And don't be afraid to try new shit. Don't be afraid to try and fail, but don't stick to the same formula if it isn't working. Be able to change it or make some type of adjustments, and let's see what happens. We're going to definitely find out when we get. I didn't realize the Banks got hurt, so that'll be interesting to watch off the bye. But gather yourself,
see
get
who they're going to
healthy.
put in this place too.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So now we really need to make sure Trent is back, because you don't want Dumb and Dumber with Jalen Moore and whoever's taking over the bank.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
I love it.
You don't want that shit, bro. So Trent Williams, get back. We need Trent Williams back.
And we need Debo back too. It's offensive.
Absolutely. We need Debo back, man.
You can tell they're hurt. They are hurting without Debo, straight up.
Yeah. And while people may think that Debo is not an integral part of the defense, you must be out of your fucking mind. That dude puts fear in the hearts of defenses because they know what he can do. And the sad part is the crazy motherfucker loves contact.
Yeah, he does.
He ain't running from nothing. So when he's on the field, don't think that he's just, he's going to run out of bounds. Okay, you keep telling yourself that. When he runs your ass over on the way to the end zone, that's on you. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. All right, y'all. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. We'll be back maybe sometime next week. And we'll preview the next game against the Jaguars. Until next time, guys. Go Niners. Peace.
Even though